in just a couple of seconds. I'll just do a quick introduction of you ladies.
Sure.
All right, and we are live. My name is Hetal Doshi. I'm an organizational psychologist, and although we have our full-time jobs at OSIG, we really decided that post-MCO, we wanted to give back to the community. And as part of our offerings or community offerings, we're doing a series of interviews with experts and everyday heroes just like you and I. And today with me, I have two amazing ladies who I've heard a lot about before meeting them today. I don't think I've ever met you personally, but I've always heard about the two of you. And it brings me so much of pleasure to be in this same digital space as you, not necessarily physical.
Yeah.
Together with Jesrina and Stephanie, they're both the co-founders of Purely Be, which is Southeast Asia's #1 digital health and wellness lifestyle brand and community platform that is dedicated towards people's health and also empowering sustainable healthy living. Just pausing on that, I think majority of us, when you ask us how is life, we'll be like, oh, surviving la, or mati la, die la, say la. So our friends are focused on sustainable living, sustainable healthy living, so that we can live to a good 93 odd years, like Tun Mahathir maybe, still be super fit. They're also backed by Silicon Valley-based VC firm, and they also integrate, which is what I love the most. They integrate education together with the products, and obviously this is something more. Although I think a lot of wellness products kind of came out of Asia, it probably got a lot more traction in the Western world, and now we're just kind of catching up with that. But that's really nice that we have a local brand called Purely Be over here as well. Hello, Jesrina and Stephanie. How are you both doing?
Hi. Thanks for having us. Yeah, thank you for having us. Such a great introduction. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can just feel both of your energies. We always feel like just such nice energy. So we'll just get right into it. Yeah, what is Purely Be's aspiration? What is the dream?
So when we created Purely Be, we really felt that there was a gap in Asia, that there was not enough education and awareness of what it meant to actually lead a sustainable, healthy lifestyle that's relatable for Asian cultures, Asian mindsets, Asian diets and foods, and so on. And as a result, that's why you were seeing a rise in health issues in Asia, from diabetes, obesity. They just don't know. And they're not getting enough guidance there, and it's not accurate, a lot of the information out there. So our initial objective was like, how can we help reduce those statistics? How can we help people change the way they look at what being healthy is, and look at it as like a very easy way to just integrate into your daily life and make it so relatable to them. Your kway teow that you love, your nasi lemak that you love, here's a healthy version of it.
Food. Yeah.
You love. And
so what I love about what you're saying is that I think you've got the key word there, which is an easy way of converting your lifestyle, because all the other ways of converting your lifestyle just seem so impossibly difficult.
Yeah, because always people, put together healthy means that you have to sacrifice a lot of good food. You have to live your life miserably, and then you can't enjoy your food. But this is just wrong perception, right? You can still live healthy and still enjoy food, but then now you're at least more mindful about the things that you take in your body. Because I feel that if your body feels good, you don't want to go back to the state where it was before, where you're sluggish and you're like just not healthy. So when you change that lifestyle, you change that perception, and you just live through that kind of healthy living, you change everything. So that's
and
what
you never want to go back.
Yeah, you never want to go back. And it's not difficult to change, so
bad habits die hard, right? Bad habits die hard. What I love about what you're saying is that there is this bad perception about healthy products, right? That it's not good, or that you might relapse. But that perception might also be true, right? Because some of us have had major relapses trying to be healthy, trying to, I know we shouldn't be doing this, but trying to lose weight, or, trying to look better. So that's really awesome that you're also integrating education. I'm sure both of you started this company because of something that may have been a struggle that you were coping with, and then that idea was born, because that's normally how ideas are born. So what was it that you may have been struggling with?
So, sorry, were you saying something?
Oh, no,
If you,
Jess can relate first.
yeah, maybe Jesrina first.
Oh, okay. So Stephanie, myself, and our other co-founders, we all have our individual personal journeys as to why Purely Bee meant so much to us, to that why it's needed. So for me personally, because I found out I was intolerant to gluten, dairy, egg, wheat, and shellfish, and it was actually built up over time because of very toxic lifestyle, really bad diet, and when I realized it, it caused a lot of I had a lot of rashes. I was always having, I had very bad digestive issues, migraines every 2-3 days. So these were all what I thought was normal for me because I was very stressed and getting lack of sleep. But when I was able to change my lifestyle, learning for how people did it in the West and how they overcame health issues by going natural, more of a holistic, healthy lifestyle and things like that, cutting out processed foods, toxic ingredients, and so on. Then I was able to eliminate a lot of those ingredients I was intolerant to because a lot of them are highly processed, they're in toxic foods and so on. And when I did that, all the health issues that I had went away in a very short period of time. In fact, the first week, I wasn't getting any migraines, my digestive issues went away. So things like that was really mind-boggling to me because I tried typical modern medicine ways and nothing worked.
Yeah.
But this natural way, it's really internal, and you just have to look at what is it you're putting into your body, because it is going to affect your health in the long run. If it's not in the short run, you think you're fine, in the long run it will. So that was a turning point for me, where if this can make such a big change to me, I can't imagine what this can do to other people. And it's just food. It's just nutrition. So but Stephanie's got
no, that's
Yeah.
amazing, Jesrina. I think a lot of us have gone through like a bit of a glitch in our health, not knowing that there are simpler ways of resolving it rather than going into hardcore medication. Stephanie, what was it for you?
Yeah, similar to Jess, basically like when she was talking to me about this and I started to do a lot of research and I realized that, oh my God, there's so many jargon words that I have no idea, because you basically just eat, right? Like what's all this gluten and like dairy free and all that. So I get it really interested. And it's also for family, I my kids, my husband, like thinking of ways to then what do I do with them? Like, how can I be healthier? And myself, I've been suffering from eczema my whole life, which I didn't even know that it was food related. Yeah. So when I learned about all this elimination diet, like then I realized that it's actually meat that I'm allergic to, like hormone being injected in your chicken and stuff like that, So when I start going through those elimination, I realized that my eczema just went away. Like, yeah, so it's everything you eat affects you. Yeah. So I guess it's really like a pain point, right, to us, because sometimes I feel like I lived with the eczema my entire life because the perception is, no, it doesn't kill me, I should be okay, but once I actually recover, it never felt like so good, and I wouldn't want to go back to what I was doing before.
I think that's a really sad thing, right? Like when most of us feel like pain is normal. That's just part of, that's an unfortunate thing. And even when we meet doctors, like Stephanie, I'm very similar to you in that I had eczema, but it wasn't from when I was young. And I know the doctors will always tell you this is something, Hetal, that you would have to live with now.
Yeah, or they give you steroid cream, right? I've been using steroid cream for since I was a child. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in that world for sure.
Yeah.
All right, and so just like that, right? What I really like to do, maybe you guys, you ladies, have given me inspiration by talking about if we can creating a healthy business, because as we know, as entrepreneurs, especially in the startup world, it can be extremely stressful, right? It can be super duper stressful. And I'm just wondering, like, do businesses need to operate in such a stressful way, or can there be like a way to generate business in a startup world that is a lot more healthier? But before we go into that, and this is purely inspired by you, I know it's not part of the interview questions, but you've just given me an idea to say, like, how do you have a healthy, literally, an organization that is well of sorts, right? While you're performing as well. But before that, what were maybe, of course, COVID-19 has brought some challenges as well, but maybe what are some milestones for both of you, Jesrina and Stephanie, as you grew Purely Bee as your baby? What was probably the darkest times for you? Maybe Stephanie can go first.
Well, Yeah.
Sorry.
Stephanie, do you recall what are the toughest moments, the darkest moments where you even felt like, okay, you know what, like, should we even really be in this business? Or are we even good enough? Or is this going to last the way that
Yeah.
we think it is? So what were
Mm.
those moments, if you don't mind? Maybe a couple from you, a couple from Jesrina
Yeah.
as well.
I think for me, the darkest moment that I can remember, it was when we pivoted our business. And I think just can remember back then, because when we started Purely Bee, we want to make it easier for people to also access to products. So when we started, that was, like the product availability, having a marketplace was always in our plan. So when we start obviously executing that, and then when we go out to the market, we realized that what we thought that the market wants then wasn't what we expected it to be. And then in the business of the marketplace, and we realized that it also changes the business dynamic, because we want to build a sustainable business. But when we had that marketplace, it kind of changed that. It kind of become very sales driven. So we have to always look at revenue, like only work with certain partners because they are part of our marketplace. If it's not, then they're not part of our, there's a lot of expectation in there. And we realized that to also sustain a marketplace, it takes a lot of money to sustain, and we don't want to go into that kind of business. That's just not what we are set up to be. So I guess the time when we started to say, okay, we sat down and we said, okay, we got to make that change, and we have to do it fast, because we don't have that time and money to burn, right? And obviously, we have to make very tough decisions, because we have a team that we hire thinking that it's for the marketplace. But obviously when we pivot, so it's no longer, the same people doing that job. So I guess it was when we tell the team, it was actually quite difficult. Yeah, but we had to do it because we realized that it's for the business and it's for long term. Yeah, if it doesn't feel right, we just have to change and we just have to pivot. So yeah, that was quite tough.
The longer you wait, the worse the toxicity or the disease that spread, right? And the collective gets affected. So what you're trying to say is that your approach to selling had to change? Is that what you're trying to say?
I think the focus. Yeah, so we kind of diverted the focus when we moved into marketplace from our original focus, where we really wanted to do something bigger. So the marketplace just like bring us to the very sales driven kind of revenue hardcore number that we have to drive, just working with specific vendors only. It's not really the whole community.
So within my ignorance, so what you're trying to say is that when you had to pivot from marketplace to a community driven kind of an approach, or
something like that. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I apologize, but if I'm being too nosy, but when did this happen?
This was 2017. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Because I've heard about both of you a lot more. Maybe after 2017. In the past 2 years, I've really seen a lot more of Purely Bee, and I've really heard about, especially because I'm also part of the Lean In team, the Dream Team.
Right.
A lot more in the past few years than maybe even before that. So obviously something that had to be done, and I'm sure it brought you much better returns. So I feel sorry that you had to go through that, and unfortunately, that is the world of business.
Yeah,
that is the world of business. Jesrina, maybe what was the darkest time for you?
Honestly, I mean, I find like the past 5 years has been like this. So I think there's so many dark times, but there's so many.
It's like, wait, give me 1 hour.
And so, I mean, to say one more than the other, it's tough because every moment had its darkest moments, but at the same time, I think I'm always such a big believer that, and based on what we've gone through as well, that anytime we went through those darkest times, when we came out of it, it was always for a greater purpose, and there was always something amazing that came out of it, and it makes you thankful that you went through that dark time to begin with. But so I definitely agree with Stephanie, that part that she was talking about, that major pivot in the business. I think we've always been pivoting a bit here and there. I think that's only natural of every company, but that was a major pivot, and we had to let go of people, amazing talents who are really valuable to the team, but no longer were needed when we made the pivot. But so that's difficult because we've always held ourselves like a family unit. Like that's what Purely is. We're a small business. We've never become a big business yet.
Right.
We've never gone more than 20 staff in our past 5 years. And
Yeah.
so it's always, we're very close knit. And so it's very emotional when we have to let certain people go. We have those ties. So I think the first, it's hard for me to pick the darkest because that is considered one of. And there are many low points. But I think the
Right.
first one was when we had raised funds, and for the first time from venture capitalist firms. And whilst that was a big high moment for us to get those kind of funds when we were still very young, a very young business, but because we were so focused on growing the business and driving the numbers and hitting the sales and answering to shareholders and investors, that we kind of neglected a little bit the internal culture and the team and so on. And then you could feel that shift in the company as well in terms of like the sentiment and the culture. And so it was a challenging time because how do you balance the two? Because we're no longer just ourselves. We do it how we want and keep everyone happy, but you've got those stakeholders. And so to me, that was a very challenging and like tough time because it was like, oh no, we neglected our team members without even realizing, because we're trying to grow the business and so on, and like you wouldn't want to see them unhappy, and that makes you unhappy. And so like changing the way that we do things, so that was a tough time because you're trying to balance it. And we're first time entrepreneurs, we've never gone through that before we're like managers of teams in other people's companies, so it's so different. So that I remember that was the first like dark moments that we went through that we really felt, and then we managed to pull out of it. And so then it's been in cycles, but every time it's a great lesson, and always it was needed for a reason. And our business is stronger because of it, and we're stronger because of it.
It reminds me of the analogy of caterpillar going into cocoon. It's a dark thing and then goes off to butterfly. Butterfly actually only lasts for 2 days, actually, if you do a bit of research. And then before you move back to caterpillar, like Jesrina is saying, it's like cycles and cycles and cycles. Like the life cycle is becoming shorter and shorter, essentially, right? And that can be really quite difficult. Do you think that, this is just a random question, do you think then that entrepreneurs love pain? Because my God, there must be like some kind of like, give me the pain. Otherwise, you kind of attracted by that, right? Sometimes we do, right? So these are things that maybe we're attracted by, but we don't seem to be leaving this space, even though so do you think
I don't think we love pain. I think we always have a challenge.
We like challenges. Because we always see opportunity, right? In everything. So technically, you're like, oh, maybe we can try this, or maybe let's do this. So it's about the challenges that we go through, or because we always think about something, right? Like there's so many things to do. How can we do better? So every time you do better, it's either you did it right, or obviously you make mistakes too. So sometimes when you make that mistake, it's not the pain lah, but it's just challenge. We have to go through.
Like how they say there's no such thing as failure, right? Like if you don't try it. So there will be many of those times where it fails, but technically it didn't, because you learn and you did something better because of it. But it will go through a pain period, I guess.
I just love the duality and the juxtaposition of entrepreneurs' language. They're like, that was the most painful part of my life. Oh, so do you love pain? No, I didn't mean pain. It's like we know that we are going through it, but we don't like to call it that when we are called out upon it.
You don't want to be so negative because technically you don't feel it's that negative.
But you do. I'm sure you do.
You do at the time, but when you come out of it, you don't look at it.
Because maybe the reward is much bigger, at the end of the day. So you only see the reward, and you're like, oh, okay, it's worthwhile.
That's why I see a lot of entrepreneurs are very good at reframing. Yeah, but the reward,
Yeah.
reframing the picture, right? The picture
You have
feels
to, right? You always have to reframe because it keeps changing and you have to keep reframing. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think that's awesome. And also the word fail, right? Like a lot of times, I'm not sure about you. I'm speaking about myself because I'm also an entrepreneur. There are a lot of times in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I really up, I really screwed up. That's like a huge failure. But on the outside, I'm like, failure is good. Failure is the inside. Like, what the hell did I do? So, do you feel the same way as well? Do you feel that there's a bit of duality? Like, okay, we say that failure is good, but on the inside, we take it very personally sometimes.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Do you
Yeah.
want to do you want to share an experience about that, like, or an example, something that's a bit, that we can kind of, what do you call, pin down this ghost that exists?
Failure.
Well, I mean, it's all about experiments that you do that don't work out the way that you hope, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, for example, when we wanted to focus, we shut down marketplace. We knew what all the data was telling us, our customers were telling us, do more on content that helps us more. That's what really is valuable to us, the guidance that you give us on how to change our lives. And we want more of your own brand. And that's what resulted us in then launching our own brand of traditional Asian superfood products. But before we did that, it was focused on content, and we decided to do our own digital health programs. And health programs is very much, it's a huge thing in the US and in the West. People will pay a lot of money, hundreds of dollars, for this video coaching online program. And now during COVID, you're going to see everyone is signing up for this. But prior to COVID, however, in Asia, it wasn't really done. Nobody
And
was
people
doing
don't pay for content in Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they get it
So
for
we
free.
were exactly. So Steph's like, it's can we do it? People don't pay for content in Asia, and
Yeah.
they're not used to this kind of health programs. 28 days to like changing your diet and so on. We're going to guide you with recipes, grocery lists, all of this with video coaching and so on. Can this work in Asia? We don't know unless we try. And we created these programs with our co-founders who are like nutritionists, natural doctors, and did it, very extensively, and did a whole launch campaign on it with webinars, free webinars to like reel people in and convert. And obviously you spend money, you invest into building these programs and to launching it, and then you see the return is not covering the costs, and it's sort of like, obviously to you feel it's a failure because you say, we're not even covering the cost of making this, and why is there not enough people signing up for it, when you do realize that you're trying to create your own category and own niche. Like, no one in Asia is doing this right now. So technically there is set up for, there's not enough awareness. So how are you even gonna convert as many people when you're the first mover in doing this? But at the same time, it's like, we're a small business, we can't afford to spend too much money or waste too much money on doing something that we see isn't working well. So what we could see from there, however, I would feel at that time really felt like, why isn't this working? But it was a matter of, one, timing. It wasn't, people in Asia weren't ready for it. And two is that it is something completely new. And so we learned from that, however, and then we created products, physical health products, because people wanted the programs, but they didn't want to pay for it. They wanted to pay for a physical product that complements the program. And if you can bundle in the program with it for a very small fee, they will pay for it all. So that was a good learning, and that led us to where we are today. But COVID, however, also changed the way people now look, and now everyone's looking for online courses, video coaching programs, all of that. So now more than ever, we're pushing the bundles of our programs with the product. But we didn't even bother pushing the program much. We just focused on the product. The program is always like a by the way in the background. But now the landscape is so different. But yeah, at the time, it was to us like really seen as, oh God, we failed. But after we really dissected it and then saw what it meant and what it led to us today, then we're like, oh, we had to go through that. We wouldn't have known it.
Absolutely. And I think the beauty of it is that it never goes to waste. You can always use it for another experience and stuff.
Yeah.
And you know what I love about what you're trying to say, and kind of helps me to reflect on this beauty of called timing is everything. Timing is
Yeah,
really everything, right?
yeah.
Stephanie, did you want to add anything to that at
Yeah, I
all?
think like I wouldn't even say that it's like a failure. Like because we even today when we look back at the program, it's still so relevant. Whatever that we created, like 2 years ago. So I would
Yeah.
think that we are a bit far-sighted than a lot of people then because they don't see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Right way
now,
to say it.
yeah,
I love that reframe, Stephanie. This is probably the best hashtag ever. I didn't fail. I'm just far more farsighted than you. That's awesome.
because still so relevant. People love it. That now we can do the bundle, and then because now everything is online. Even now that we can't go actually do training with the corporates, but this program is so relevant to them because everything is online. So you can even like reuse it in so many other ways. Yeah, bundle with the product. Go into corporate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, farsighted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
timing, like you said, timing.
fail. Yeah, I didn't fail. You just clearly shortcutted, my friend. COVID-19, what has it done for all of you at Purely Be?
Well, I mean, I think one thing I guess is it didn't impact us in a huge way. It has for some other companies because we've always been e-commerce. We hadn't yet taken our product offline. We hadn't taken it into like shopping malls and stores, have our own stores. Everything was through our own e-commerce platform.
Well, thank God for that, huh?
Thank God, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So in a way, we're so thankful that we
Farsighted,
hadn't.
farsighted.
So in that sense, and in the other aspect, of course, is that we create our own brand of products, and that does require production. It's a physical product. We're not just a digital company. So whilst our channel of selling is digital, but the creation of the product is offline. So
Mhm.
the production, however, was affected because the factories and the raw material suppliers, they all couldn't work. They all had to shut down operations throughout the whole MCO in Malaysia. So that affected us because obviously now as an e-commerce business as well as a health business, a health product business, demand is on the rise. Everyone's looking for immune boosting ways to
Yeah.
improve their health, and our hero product Pegaga by Shirley B is about immune boosting. It also addresses the gut health, digestion, and skin
Yeah.
health. But primarily, the immune boosting health benefits is one of the key benefits of this product. So more people were interested in it, but we were running out of stock, and we ran out of stock very early on in MCO because the demand was more than what we had expected. But if we have no stock, how are you going to sell? So we had to think of other
Another.
ways, another route
Yeah.
to reach out to consumers. Steph, do you want to continue?
Yeah,
on that?
so basically, obviously we know that the product is in demand. So we are like, oh, like there's nothing we can do. Supply is not, working. This production factory, nothing is like working for us. And then so quickly we thought about doing a pre-order.
Yeah.
Like we just have to be honest with people and say that we are all affected. I think everyone understands, but we are selling for a very, very good price. But the thing is, you will have to wait. And then internally we were like, oh, will people wait? Because we say post-COVID, right? It can be like 2 months and all that. But to our surprise, I think on the first day when we launched it, the response was just overwhelming.
Wow.
So technically, like we have never sold so many in a day, and that makes us realize that people are willing to wait, and then more so than ever, they know that they need to build their immunity, and they're willing to wait, even though that is 2 months. Yeah, it's post-COVID, so we all kind of know that it's about that kind of period of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then with that pricing, I mean, internally we know that we're giving a good deal, but to us, it's not about making profit at this point in time anymore. It's not about, oh, what is the percentage of margin? What if we don't sell, like, oh, we don't make enough? But I think we all agree, and we said that as long as, because it's COVID, right? Everything's so uncertain, right? The company needs to survive. We are running a business, so it's about having that cash. Like as long as we manage to sell, get the product out, there's demand out there, and then so we are just very happy that things worked out for us. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well done, both of you.
Yeah. And
Jesrina,
also, sorry, Hazel, I just wanted
no,
to
no,
add
no,
on
no,
also,
no, no.
we do recognize that we want to help in other ways. We might be a small business and we might not be able to do huge donations and things like that to organizations. So we pledged, we work with Mercy Malaysia to then donate 10 ringgit of every sale to their COVID emergency relief funds, help vulnerable communities, as well as hospitals needing medical supplies. So even though we're so small and we can't really afford much, but for us, we're saying, at the very least, this is what we can do. If customers pledge with us, we can take 10 ringgit of So that is important to us too. So we can help in some way. We don't want to feel like it's just about our business. We're
And by the way, we also promise a refund to the customers if they don't get the product on time. So we said that we'll refund you fully. Yeah, if you don't think you want to wait anymore. Yeah. So far, not yet. So okay.
I feel like you've transitioned so much from being put in a spot where it was all sales, sales, sales. In this marketplace, to then really having to move out of that space, to then saying that maybe this is what people want, which is some of the programs that you had, to recognizing that you were way too far-sighted, and then having to move into physical products. And then having to go into a different platform, a community-led kind of a platform, and now you're serving the community from a space of truth, if that makes sense, rather than a gimmicky thing or like programs. But it's kind of been pushing you and pushing you and pushing you to do truthful things. And I think what's really admirable is when businesses like yourselves, who are either small or may also be struggling obviously because of external partners, then to say that, okay, on top of that, we're just going to give a little bit back to the society. I just really want to applaud you for that, because the hardest thing to do when you are going through your own stress and your own drama is to then even think about somebody else and say, no, that's the right thing to do. So being pushed to the truth and being truthful about your business is something that I've seen that maybe you've grown into that direction as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think even before COVID hit, when we started doing our own brand of products, we didn't want to do just our own brand of products. We were saying, how can this impact more lives? It shouldn't just be about us and the end consumer. It's got to help more people beyond that. And so that's why we waited to the right product, which was traditional Asian superfoods, to do with local tropical herbs like pagaga, which is very, very well known amongst the older generation in Malaysia, but the younger generation don't know about it. But everyone in the rural areas, the older generation, they all know it, and it's very easy to grow. So we're able to employ marginalized women in Thailand and Malaysia on the farms to then harvest these herbs for our products. So it's a social enterprise as well. It's not just about producing a mass and then selling. So for us, it was important. And the recipe comes from a lady who's from a marginalized community. And so we started with her village first. And she's a traditional herbalist and healer. And this is passed on from generations to generations, the recipe. So we don't come up with it by ourselves. We recognize this is Asia. You're sitting on an ancient heritage of all these wellness remedies.
Where it comes from.
And they're amazing. And we know personally the women whose lives have been improved by this for many years, this particular remedy, but it's never been commercialized. So we work with these traditional healers and herbalists who themselves don't know how to don't know how to monetize, and we help them monetize, and then we employ marginalized communities. But we also work with medical scientists so that it's backed by science, so that for the international consumers or the end consumer, like, you have peace of mind. It's ancient tradition backed by science, but it's also helping more people than just your health and us. So
that sounds like a lot of work, man. That sounds like a lot of work. and then just so cute.
Yeah, it's not about just bringing product from the West that we idolize, right? Like all your turmeric and all that, just because the West say that it's so good. And we in Asia have been taking it for centuries, like everyone knows about it, but because the packaging in the West is doing so well, so we all thought, oh, okay, we must follow. But for us, we want to bring our product there. we want people to recognize these Asian remedies, traditional healing herbs. We want to be proud of our own, product, so that they can now follow us. Yeah.
Oh, I would so recommend. I don't know. Have you ever watched? Is it Gloop? Is it Gloop?
Goop. Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
Goop, yeah. I think I can almost imagine that's the future that Purely Be can and maybe is already having. Yeah.
Yeah, we have people who likened us. You're like the Goop of Asia. Except I hope we hold more credibility than Goop. So
You hope what?
more credibility.
More credibility.
Sometimes, it's seen as very like airy, fairy.
Yeah.
Where's the accuracy behind it? Yeah.
Do some Netflix series on this, man. Do it.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Why not, right? Why not?
Yeah.
Hey, and if you become like truly super like globally famous, then remember the idea came from me, okay? But I believe in you. I'm a fan. I'm a complete fan now. Honestly, haven't had access to the products, but definitely will do my best to support as well. You ladies are amazing. There's a lot of complexity in what you're doing, and I'm really proud of you. I'm really super duper proud of you. Hang in there, super tight. One last question before we leave, because we're a little bit out of time. One question: what is your fix? What keeps you sane?
Yeah, definitely sound keeps me sane.
Stephanie keeps you sane.
What keeps me sane? Yeah, with my Tibetan singing bowl. So I think it's also part of my journey. Like, I guess when I founded Purely Be together with Jess, I also went through everything, right? So basically, sound healing was one of the things that I discovered during my journey with Purely Be. Like we were doing a team activity. So that was my first time doing sound healing. That was like probably less than 2 years ago. And little that I know, it becomes one of my biggest calling and my biggest passion. So so I went to India, get my certification and all that, So I've been doing that to also give back to the community, give back to Purely Be fans, give back to, anybody who's in this time of need, just needed time to just slow down and just be silent, just that, even that 10 minutes just for yourself. And when I play it, I realize that actually I get the most reward, because that was also my time to de-stress. And knowing that, when people tell me that, I actually fall asleep and this is through screen, like it makes me feel really, really good. And to be able to just contribute in that small little ways, that I can. So
That's awesome. And there's so much of science behind it. There's so much.
Yeah, correct.
Behind the vibrational energy of sound. It's so
correct.
much.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We'll get you to do something for us sometime in the Facebook group as well, which I'm sure you would love. I'm sure you would love. What's your fix, Jesrina?
So for me, one thing for sure is support system around me that keeps me sane, and that would be my husband, Stephanie, business partners, my team members, and just family. So I think it's a very challenging, uncertain, unpredictable journey as an entrepreneur, and I think having that solid support system has helped me so much through the ups and downs. But also for me, ways of like just taking care of myself would be a lot of meditation, breath work, sound healing. I know now I think more people are exposed to it, are more aware of it. I think maybe a year, 2 years ago, people were like, huh, what are you talking about? But we just, as busy as we are, even just 5 minutes a day to just have that peace and quiet and just like meditate with your own thoughts, calm, or like listen to energy healing or Stephanie's like sound healing. There's so many. The beauty of during COVID is that everyone's doing it for free now and doing it live on social media. I think everyone's got those channels. You don't need to go to a studio to do it. And I feel it really helps me. Like it slows everything down. It provides so much clarity. And you need that. You need that like 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day. You just need that, because otherwise you go crazy.
I agree.
So
I agree. Was there anything that you sorry?
And of course, your diet, your nutrients and all that, because that makes a difference in your mood and your energy and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've reached the end of the show. I just wanted to thank you so much. I think the the couple of words that I take away the most is farsightedness. And the second one is reframing, right? So farsightedness, reframing. Yeah, definitely the top two things that come to my mind when I reflect on this conversation. Is there anything that any parting advice, or maybe just one advice that, one sentence that gets you through everything, or a sentence that you've heard that has stuck with you and that kind of carries you through all the time? Either one.
I think like for me, and this is like I think it's something that I always remember because it was something in the beginning of my journey, and every time things go hard, I always remember this, and it's something along the lines of don't downgrade your dreams to match your reality, upgrade your faith to match your destiny. And I think, yeah, so for me, I think right from the beginning, even when there are doubters and people who don't believe in you, and you're able to sort of prove them wrong if you just have faith, but obviously know that you're not just building something that isn't going to work. You obviously have to do the research and all that.
Really powerful. What was that again? Don't downgrade your dreams to match your reality. Upgrade your what?
Your faith to match your destiny.
Wow.
So that's something that I've always
seriously goosebumps. Wow. Okay. And Stephanie, is there anything that sticks with you, or anything that you've been told before that kind of just added so much value to you?
Mine is actually very simple. The 3R that I keep telling myself not to forget, to always relax when I feel stressed out, to recharge once I gain my clarity, and then focus on the things that I'm supposed to do. So it will keep, coming. So the 3R.
Repeat. Sorry, I missed the last R. So there's relax,
relax, and refocus.
Basically, refocus.
Yeah.
That's very powerful. That's very psychology. That's super psychology. So thank you so much. I wish you all the best, and I cannot wait to meet both of you in person post COVID-19 or video. Yeah, God bless, and I will definitely get in touch with you. I will support the brand for sure. And anything that you want to do with regards to sound healing for the community, then this could be a place as well. Yeah.
Yay! Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
Take care.
Pleasure. Thank you.